What is going on, world? What's up, YouTube? It's Zero here. Today I'm bringing you guys a brand new StarCraft 2 video. This one is between two players on the WCS Pro circuit, and this game and series in particular was played at the IEM in Katowice. Spawning here in the top left hand corner of Cyberforest LE, playing with the blue Protoss pieces. He's very well known and a fan favorite, to say the least, in the StarCraft 2 Pro scene. His name is Neeb. And his opponent spawning in the cross position, playing with the red Zerg pieces. Not as well known as his opponent, but a force to be reckoned with nonetheless with the Zerg pieces. His name is Ragnarok. So guys and girls, I am very excited about this game and this series that was played, as I said, at Katowice, and was within the round of 12 of that tournament. So of course it's a best of 5 series. Of course every game is very important in the grand scheme of things, but I'm excited to see what both these players decide to do here in this series, because Neeb is obviously the overwhelming favorite in this series. So what's Ragnarok going to do to maybe throw Neeb off his game just a little bit, which would obviously, you know, if you could steal a game here or there against Neeb, who's one of the best Protoss players out there, that it would be a massive ordeal for Ragnarok. Neeb, though, trying to move on to the next round, which of course would be the round of 8, and that, you know, of course, is also known as the quarterfinals. So, you know, Neeb is no stranger to being in this current position. He is very, you know, kind of been accustomed to making it relatively far in tournaments. He's had, you know, some off, you know, years that haven't been as good, but at the same time, Neeb, you never can count this guy out of a tournament. So without further ado, guys, let's talk about what each player is deciding to do here in the early stages of the game. It looks like Ragnarok went ahead and got, he's on his 3 bases. He got his 3rd base first, simply because Neeb was trying to be a little bit of a nuisance in that natural expansion, or natural area, whereas Ragnarok's going to go ahead and get that spawning pool up. He's getting the metabolic boost upgrade right now. And on the opposite side of the map, it does look like Neeb is going to go ahead and go into a standard build as well. He went for, of course, the gateway into that cybernetics core, and then of course the natural nexus. So he's going to try to get somewhat of a booming economy here. He is going to have that Twilight Council out, going for a couple, you know, trying to get fully saturated on a couple of bases. We are going to see Ragnarok, beautiful scout here with that Overlord, seeing exactly what is going on. Now the follow-up here is the robotics facility, which very well is probably going to get scouted as well. So Ragnarok's got that, you know, he's got that vision from the sky, which is definitely going to help him. But there are a couple of adepts that have made their way across the map. It looks like some of these Zerglings are going to try to get the surround here. Looks like one of those adepts will go down. The other one will shade away, though, for the time being. Little moves like that, though, can throw a player off relatively easily. Looks like Ragnarok is going to go back into his drone production, trying to get fully saturated on 3 bases. He's going to be moving into the lair, so he's going to go ahead and get those higher tier lair-based units here shortly as that lair is morphing in. Does have some queens out on the playing field as well for that creep spread, as well as that stellar defense. We are going to see some Zerglings that are moving across the map. We're going to see Warp Gate being going to be completed with being researched in less than 10 seconds for Neeb. There's going to be a Stalker that is out on the map. War Prism is coming in as well. Ragnarok's got this Overlord in a beautiful position, so he can get that, you know, that vision that he definitely wants, because it's all about vision when it really comes down to it. We're going to see a Roach Warren being followed up here for Ragnarok. But on the opposite side of the map, there's a lot of action going on here. We are going to see the Dark Shrine coming in. We're going to see more and more gateways being added on, 3 in total. And then we're going to see, the big thing, though, is that Dark Shrine. So should be interesting to see what Neeb is going to decide to do here relatively soon, it seems. It looks like he's probably going to be going for somewhat of some aggression with that War Prism. He is going to have, that War Prism is going to start up a couple of Archons, so 4 Dark Templar, morphing in those Archons. Then he's going to probably fly those those Archons into that main base, try to do a little bit of some damage. So we're going to see what kind of damage he is able to do here, because there's going to be, of course, a little bit of some defense here. Roaches as well as some queens. Looks like Neeb is going to fly out of there. Now that Ragnarok does know somewhat as to what is going on, these Archons are going to try to most likely get a couple of kills here, though. They are going to go start target firing some of those Zerglings and continue flying away. So nothing actually too crazy being done as of yet. Nice defense there by Ragnarok. We are going to see that third Nexus is going down as of right now. You're just going to have to kind of keep an eye on these units, though. As far as I'm concerned, he's got, he's trying to kind of snipe some of those creep tumors, observers there, and that's going to be very helpful as well. Trying to keep that creep spread at bay, at least at the time being. We are going to see Glowery Constitution being researched out of the Roach Swarm, but we are going to see a couple of depths that did make their way into that natural base location, and they are going to be a little bit of a nuisance now at that third base location. They're shading in and out. Beautiful play here by Neeb, getting a little bit of some value, but then at the same time, we are going to see more and more units are starting to go down, and Ragnarok is going to have to keep, tabs on all of these units, and that is where it gets difficult, because Neeb wants to be aggressive here. He does not want Ragnarok to get comfortable. He wants to really be the one that is beginning all of the issues, so to speak. He is going to come over towards that third base location. Once again, does not look like these adepts are going to be able to do much of anything, but at the same time, units are in the main base location. A little bit of some pickup micro. Beautiful play there once again by Neeb. He's everywhere right now, and now he's going on to his third Nexus, so we're certainly going to have to keep an eye on that for the time being. Now, we are going to see the Infestation Pit coming in now for Ragnarok, so he is going to be able to go for that hive if he so chooses. But these creep tumors just keep on getting sniped down by Neeb. So Neeb is really, he's all over the place. And it looks like the follow-up is going to be those +1 upgrades as well as charge out of the Twilight Council. We're also going to start seeing the Immortal production coming in. And so I wonder if Neeb is planning on continuing that aggression. He does not want to allow Ragnarok really even an inch, and he wants to be the one kind of dictating the pace of this game, which is extremely important in the grand scheme of things. We're going to see those queens did go ahead and transfuse the Overseer, but now comes the main bulk of the army of Neeb. He's starting to move out, and I'm wondering if there's going to be enough here for Ragnarok to really hold on against this push that is coming inevitably of some Archons, Immortals, Zealots, and Sentries. Got a couple of Stalkers, and they are going to start moving across the map. They have really started forcing that creep spread backwards, and it looks like this death ball of units that's starting to move out. We are going to see the Swarm Hosts that are going to be coming out, and those are going to be the tech of choice. But we are going to start seeing some of these units are going to begin the engagement. The Swarm Host going to caught out here. We are going to see some very nice force fields there by Neeb, and I wonder if there's going to be enough here as Ragnarok is being pushed back on both angles, whether that's in the natural base location or the third hatchery. Here comes Neeb. He is starting to really force the issue here against Ragnarok as he wants to take a quick 1-0 lead over his opponent. We are going to see Ragnarok, who is still ahead of the supply, but it looks like that is starting to change as another massive warp, and is going to be coming in. A lot of Zealots are going to be going after those Swarm Hosts. The Swarm Hosts are kind of caught off guard here in a very, very interesting position as the Swarm Hosts now have to release a lot of those, of course, the Locusts out onto the map, and it looks like just like that, Neeb is going to be able to do as much damage as possible as another Warpin is going to come in. Ragnarok is holding on okay, but it looks like Neeb is really starting to do a lot of damage in that main base location. GG is called, and Neeb takes a 1-0 lead over his opponent. I hope you guys did enjoy this game between Neeb and Ragnarok, and if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe for new, stay positive, and I'll see you guys all in game number 2. Alrighty everyone, well, game number 2 in this best of 5 series finds us on New Repugnancy LE. Spawning here in the bottom left hand corner of the map, playing with the blue Protoss pieces. He's currently up and wants to keep this series rolling in his favor. His name is Neeb. And his opponent spawning in the top right-hand corner of the map, playing with the red Zerg pieces. He's currently down, but certainly not out of it just yet. His name is Ragnarok. Alrighty, guys. Well, game number 2 now in this series that was played at the IEM Katowice was one of the round of 12, within the round of 12 of that tournament. So very deep into the tournament, both these players are trying to make their way to the quarterfinals of the tournament, because IEM Katowice, for those of you who don't know, is one of the biggest tournaments of the year for the StarCraft 2 pro players. It ends up being, as is told by many, to be the number 2 biggest tournament of the year, right behind BlizzCon. So a lot on the line here for these players as they are trying to make their way to the next round. And Neeb really just had a really nice timing push there in game number 1 that really just, Ragnarok was not able to hold. I felt like his swarm hosts were a little bit out of position at a couple of points, and I feel like he just lost too much of his army to Neeb's push there. And so I'll be interested to see how Ragnarok decides to respond here in this second game, as he's going for what looks to be a hatch gas pool opener. And it looks like on the opposite side, we're going to see Neeb going for that gateway into the natural nexus, and of course that cybernetics core follow-up. So very interesting by both these players. You know, I mean, relatively standard on either end of the map. We're going to be seeing a metabolic boost being researched right now out of the spawning pool for Ragnarok. And, you know, one thing I thought Ragnarok did pretty good, what I thought he did a pretty good job of in game number 1 was really just his scouting information, and really just scouting in general. He was able to get, you know, some good scouting information with his overlords, really using those to his advantage. Got a couple of Zerglings that are starting to nibble at one of these probes on the opposite side of the map. Does look like they are going to try to go after some of these probes. Trying to do a little bit of that good old micro. Looks like an Adept is going to be out. Is going to probably be able to shut this down relatively quickly. But nonetheless, Ragnarok is able to get some nice scouting information. While on the other side of the map, we're going to see Neeb going for a little bit of a different build here. He is going to go for the Stargate really early in this one. He's got that, of course, the Warp Gate researching out of the Cybernetics core, and that metabolic boost upgrade is finishing up just now for Ragnarok. Third hatchery is going down right now for Ragnarok at this point in the game as well. We're going to see out of the Stargate, an Oracle is going to be coming out. So I like that decision making quite a bit. Neeb's kind of changing it up a little bit. Wants to kind of throw off his opponent. He's, you know, just kind of throwing a couple of different looks, a couple of different builds. And I think that's what you got to do if you want to, you know, win these games, because it's you know, it's one thing to win one game, but it's a whole nother thing to end up having to win 3 games in a best-of-5 series, and that's something that can be very difficult against these other pro gamers. Shading in there does cancel it. Does look like these Adepts are going to start possibly going after, you know, some of these units down at that third hatchery. And this is what Neeb does so well. Neeb is so good at just getting that necessary information that he needs, but also being annoying and being somewhat of a nuisance. Does look like those Adepts are going to be able to shade on out of there. We are going to see the Oracle is down near on Ragnarok's side of the map. He is going to be actually supply blocked right now. So while this is going on, though, we're going to see those +1 upgrades coming in from the Evolution Chamber for Ragnarok. We're going to see on the opposite side 5 more gateways are being created at this point. So our robotics facility's finished up. We are going to see, of course, a Phoenix that's now being out onto the playing field from that Stargate. And at this point, I mean, we're starting to kind of see a little bit of a stalemate at this point. It looks like out of the hatchery, we're going to see, of course, the lair being morphed in. But both players giving each other a little bit of some respect, at least at this point in the game, as we pass that 5-minute mark. We are going to see, of course, the War Prism is going to be coming out of that robotics facility, so I'm wondering if Neeb once again is going to try to get a little bit aggressive here. They are able to snipe that probe. That was a nice pickup there for Ragnarok. These are little battles. If you can win those little battles, you'll end up winning the war in the end, for the most part. Because those little battles don't seem like much, but they are a massive ordeal in the grand scheme of things. Even just getting a probe before that probe is able to begin that third nexus. But it does look like, once again, Neeb is planning on moving out, and I don't know how this is starting to look a little bit scary for me. There's a lot of Zerglings on the playing field, but a Hydralisk Den is being created right now, which is telling me that there's not a whole heck of a lot here to hold off against this army that's moving across the map here. There is Stalkers, and as well as Zealots, and you've got Adepts, a little bit of some Micro here. This could be really, really dangerous as that Oracle is being target fired down. Beautiful pickup there, though, by that Phoenix. The Phoenix does go down. There are a lot of Queens here, but another Warpin's going to have more Stalkers as well as some Sentries that are going to be coming in. The Surround is going to come in, but there is a lot of force fields going down now as well, shading away at a lot of those units. The Queens are starting to go under significant pressure as they're having to transfuse one another a lot. I just don't know if there's enough here. Ragnarok is being pushed back once again. This push could be absolutely devastating as Hydras and Zerg is going to be coming out any time now, but the problem is I think there's just too much damage happening. GG is called, and Neeb takes a commanding 2-0 lead over his opponent. I hope you guys did enjoy this game between Neeb and Ragnarok, and if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and I'll see you guys all in game number 3. Alrighty, everyone. Well, game number 3 in this best of 5 series finds us on Port Alexander LE. Spawning here in the bottom right hand corner of the map, playing with the blue Protoss pieces. He is currently on match point and wants to close out this series right here and right now. His name is Neeb. And his opponent spawning across position, playing with the red Zerg pieces. He's currently down, but he's not out of it just yet. His name is Ragnarok. So, as I said, guys, this is game number 3 that was played at the IEM Katowice. Was one of the games within the round of 12. So, Neeb's on match point. He's one game away from moving on to the quarterfinals at the IEM in Katowice, which is known as the second biggest tournament of the year for these pro gamers, second to none other than BlizzCon. And so, massive ordeal. Neeb, you know, Neeb is very accustomed to going deep into tournaments and playing extremely. He plays very well, has very good placings. He's been, you know, not doing quite as well as of late. I'm sure he's going to really pick that up, though, as time, you know, will tell us here in the 2019 season. But what I will say is that, you know, in this tournament, at least at the IEM in Katowice, he's obviously on the brink of making it to another quarterfinal matchup, which is a big deal. So, what is he going to do? You're up 2-0 against Ragnarok. What do you do to close out this series? Well, it looks like he's going to go for very standard build once again. Gateway into that natural nexus, followed up by that cybernetics core. Going for the double gas. We are going to see Ragnarok going for the hatch gas pool opener, and then going for that quick third hatchery here. So, going for a relatively standard build as well. He's just going for a very fast third hatchery in this game here. We are going to see an adept coming out of that gateway. And so we'll be able to get that scouting information. That is Neeb, who will be able to start seeing exactly what is going on, seeing the timings on some of these. On, of course, the hatchery is already going to see that with that probe. But Ragnarok's going to go ahead, continue droning up. Looks like he's going to drone up to try to, you know, get fully saturated on 3 bases. We are going to see him following this up with some Queens as well as that metabolic boost upgrade, the Zergling speed upgrade. We're going to see Neeb going for none other than the Warp Gate Research, which of course is the most standard upgrade for a Protoss player. And now we have the Adept that has made his way across the map. So this Adept is going to be able to see, try to get a little bit of some scouting information. Does look like he is going to commit here. Not sure if that was a misclick or not. Does look like he is going to maybe be in a little bit of some trouble. Maybe, maybe not. It does not look like he is. He is going to shade away, though, to say the least. So it does look like the follow-up here is going to be the robotics facility for Neeb. And he is going to follow this up as well with that Dark Shrine. He's got the Twilight Council that's finished up. So the Dark Shrine's going to be coming in. And, he's got another, gateway that's going to be coming in as well. So we do see the lair is starting to be researched or morphed in for Ragnarok. Ragnarok is playing a pretty standard game once again. I think he might feel that he's kind of on the cusp of something, like as far as getting on the scoreboard at least. Neeb in the first couple of games, though, has just outplayed him. And so I would love to see Ragnarok maybe go for something a little bit out of the ordinary to try to throw Neeb off. I also think that he needs to be the one dictating the pace of the game, not allowing Neeb to be the one dictating the pace of what happens. So I'd love to see him get a little bit aggressive. That said, Roach Warren is going to be coming out here shortly. And it does look like, once again, Neeb's going for, kind of somewhat of a similar build to what he did in the first couple of games. The only thing that's missing from this would be the Stargate. But that said, I think Neeb's feeling really confident right now. He's not in any, significant rush. He looks like he wants to play a standard macro-focused game. That Dark Shrine's coming out. We're probably going to be seeing... most likely, we'll start seeing those Dark Templar coming out, morphing those into a couple of Archons, and then kind of going from there. I'm sure that War Prism is going to be coming in very shortly, which actually the War Prism has already been created. I completely missed that. But with that being said, we are going to see these Archons going to start going towards that third base location. They want to start going after the Queens, and they very well could get one. Actually, they almost got a couple of Queens there, but they are going to start going after a couple of those Roaches, doing a little bit of some damage there. That Queen does, those transfuses definitely did help, but was able to get one of those Queens. We are going to see a couple of those Adepts as well that are going to be coming onto the playing field. But all that said and done, Neeb, while this has been going on here, a little bit of this aggression, once again, he's starting to expand onto that third Nexus. We're also going to see Glory Constitution is going to be researched out of Ragnarok. Now, one of those Archons does get killed, which was a nice pickup there by Ragnarok. Glory Constitution is going to be finished in less than 10 seconds, though, for Ragnarok. And so we are going to see the Forge coming in now for Neeb, so he's going to be able to start trying to get those upgrades here shortly. Those +1 upgrades for the ground-based units. Now, okay, we're starting to see a little bit of a change up here by Ragnarok. He's going for the Spire, and I like this a lot. I just like him switching up his build a little bit. He wants to try to throw off his opponent. The problem, though, is kind of, to me at least, would more than likely be the placing on this. I feel like Neeb is going to find out about this relatively quickly, but we do see a couple Archons that are going to be able to start going after some of these units as Roaches. And those Roaches are going to start trying to do some damage, but a lot of damage is being dealt. Those Archons are very bulky and can do a ton of damage in a matter of moments. We are going to see Charge being researched out of the Twilight Council. We're seeing those +1 upgrades also coming in, but we are going to see 4 more gateways, to be exact, that are going to be started here. Spire's not been finished up yet. And I'm just wondering, is Neeb going to find out about this? Because once he finds out about it, he can really determine how he wants to approach this. But once again, he's got a very bulky army that's kind of just waiting here. And I feel that if he finds out about this Spire anytime soon, it could spell absolute disaster for Ragnarok, because this army is going to be pretty scary. And once again, it seems like Ragnarok's sticking with the same kind of unit composition. He is going ahead and getting those Ravagers, which is somewhat of a change. But Roach Ravager Muta is going to be an interesting composition going up against this ball of units that include like Immortals, Stalkers, Adepts, Sentries, and Zealots. So either way, you know, I certainly don't think Ragnarok's out of this thing just yet. But Neeb is out, you know, is out macroing his opponent right now, and I know Ragnarok has is ahead in the supply, but that's simply because his unit composition is very supply heavy. We are going to see those Mutalisks are going to be starting to move out. Does look like Neeb is ready for them. And so with that being said, it does look like now that Neeb knows where this, knows that the Mutalisks are out, he's going to have to be very, very careful about this. He does not want to lose these Mutalisks for free there. These mutas really almost have no angle whatsoever to get in there, which is quite troubling for Ragnarok. He's going to have to figure out a way to really utilize these Mutalisks and maybe waiting until he has an opening and moving in with the rest of his army. Now, I just love that he's starting to move in, though. He is moving in with those Roach Ravager composition. He's also going to start moving in with some of those Mutalisks. And the army is here at that third nexus. Here we go. It does look like Neeb is a little bit caught off guard here, but beautiful force fields there are going to split up this army somewhat. It does look like those mutas are going to try to hit in a couple of areas, or I should say this army's going to try to hit in a couple of areas, as here come the Biles on this army. I think there just might be a little bit too much Protoss here at this point, and it does look like those mutas are going to start moving in. It does look like they are going to go after one of those pylons, trying to take out some of the production here, at least for the time being, but this other pylon is here to really help with that. So doesn't really do a whole lot. He's not Neeb is not even supply blocked at this point, but we are going to see a photon cannon that is there. It looks like the surround on these units would be absolutely terrible. Very supply heavy units here. I don't know if I like this engagement by Ragnarok. Blink is finished, as well as ground weapons level 2 for Neeb. It does look like Ragnarok's trying to kind of dictate the pace of this, but he's kind of throwing these Mutalisks away. I like how he's trying something, but right now there is a death ball of units, Protoss units, that are moving out. Now the infestation pit's going to be started. We are also going to see the Lurker Den coming in. We're also going to see Nemete's Carapace coming in for those Overlords versus the Overlord speed, but the problem here is it too late for this switch? Because there's a lot of Protoss units that are knocking on the doorstep of Ragnarok. Missile attack level 1 is going to be finished up in less than 5 seconds, as well as Nemete's Carapace. But the problem is there are so many units. Blink is engaged, and all of these units at that third base location are going to be completely decimated by all of these units of Neeb. Neeb is playing this brilliantly, out of his mind, playing such good StarCraft 2, as with those Protoss units, he wants to use a full-blown, clean 3-0 sweep against Ragnarok, as Ragnarok's supply is absolutely plummeting as we approach that 11-minute mark, and so many units are going down. Ragnarok, his supply is absolutely plummeting, flying those Mutalisks to their deaths. All of these units are starting to go down, and just like that, Neeb pushes in, has a beautiful timing push, and absolutely decimates Ragnarok's army. And Neeb wins this series 3-0, moving on to the quarterfinals at the IEM in Katowice. I hope you guys did enjoy this game and this series between Neeb and Ragnarok. And if you guys did, leave a thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, stay positive, and I'll see you guys all in the next one. Peace.